messages to one of our panelists there. They will put the message straight to the Honorable, and I guess she's very, very prepared. And I will also want to say thank you to her for giving us her time. She's very, very special to me. She's from our Ajegunle constituency. She's representing the Ajegunle constituency, and I'm very, very proud to have her with me today. So without wasting too much of your time, I want to give her the opportunity, first of all, to introduce herself properly, the way she would. And as well, I know that the other panelists also will want to introduce themselves properly. So Ma, let me start with you, Ma. The floor is yours, Ma.
My name is Honorable Barrister Rita Orji, the member House of Reps, representing the good people of Ajegunle Fellow, the Federal Constituency in the 8th Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And by the grace of God, as at then, I was the chair committee on Diaspora Matters, National Assembly of the same 8th Assembly, and seriously championed the involvement and putting into practice the establishment of this strong institution that will override a strong man or a strong woman lead. That is a NIDCOM.
Okay. I will move on to Dr. Israel Davidson. Please, a brief introduction of yourself.
Well, my name is Israel, as you've already introduced me. I'm a senior academic at Newcastle Business School, one of the top business schools in Europe. I was one of the 2019 presidential candidates. It's a great pleasure being here this afternoon. Thank you.
Also, I'll move on to Priscilla Nwopi. Madam, please give us a brief introduction of yourself, man.
Okay, so my name is actually Priscilla, not Priscilla. Priscilla Nwopi. No, it's fine. It's a common mistake that my fellow Nigerian brothers and sisters make. I do understand, but I like to correct it. So Priscilla Nwopi is my name. I'm just your co-moderator today. I'm here to take the questions. I'm a broadcaster, and I was once a member of NIDO, so I'm looking forward to today. Thank you.
All right, sir. Let me go straight to Dr. Israel Davidson. Sir, let's have your speech.
Thank you. Honorable Barrister Rita Orji, our hosts, members of the audience, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Israel Davidson, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be part of this NIDO-NIDCOM and diaspora interaction with Barrister Orji, the Chairman Committee on Diaspora Matters. Now, this afternoon, I'm not here for a speech, for you have heard many of them presented at different times by people even more eloquent than myself. I'm here to paint a picture that I hope will last long after leaving this virtual town hall meeting. The world and life of the Black man, the African, my preference, remain increasingly undervalued, humiliated, and exploited for the past 400 to 500 years. The question is why? Listen, in a Chinese restaurant, during a highly successful consultancy mission, and in the company of Chinese intellectuals and representatives of the Chinese Communist Party, the waiter refused to serve me or touch anything I used. The question is, why? In Russia, on an EU mission and at the invitation of the president, an immigration officer detained me for hours, despite the Russian government invitation seal on my Nigerian passport. You wonder why? Just yesterday, George Floyd, an unarmed African-American, was choked to death with a knee on his neck for approximately 9 minutes by a police officer. I want you to think about that. North and South, Fulani herdsmen kill, maim, rape with impunity and operate above the law to create space for cows. Our law enforcement agents, Ministry of Justice, and elected senators remain silent. What message are we sending out to the world about Africans and their worth? In 1988, President Botha of the apartheid South Africa told the world that Black people are incapable of ruling a country because they lack the brain and mental capacity to govern a society. What comes to your mind when you hear such statements? Now listen, Africans in diaspora continue to excel in all fields of human endeavor across the world. A proof that Africans are not inferior to other races, physically, intellectually, and by productivity. Now, while the developed world value, attract, reward, and retain professionals of African origin for sustained development and competitive advantage, African leaders reject their best creative minds in defense of loyalty to tribe and religion, despite the recycling consequences since independence. Meanwhile, the Indians, Chinese, and Asians in general, and Latin Americans have gotten their acts together in advancement. Lately, the Arabs have joined in the pursuit of rapid development. Dubai is a showcase. We Africans have remained behind, non-value ardent, consumption focused, and trapped in culture prostitution, despite abundant human and natural resources. Though blessed with high national literacy rate and a large community of professionals and students, we remain unable to usher in positive change through informed election of competent political leaders. Today, across Nigeria and Africa, foreign powers through their proxies are acquiring hectares of land outright and unregulated for the next phase of our slavery. Once more, our short-sighted and visionless leaders are mortgaging the future, freedom, existence, survival, and progress of generations for worthless, stage-managed red carpet receptions, handshakes, cheap collateral loans, travel visas, and personal gains. The political, economic, and security situation in Nigeria and throughout the continent continues to show Africans in a bad light. Today, when the world thinks of guinea pigs for medical tests or depopulation agenda, Africans are the prime targets. Therefore, my question to you this afternoon is simple. Who did this to us? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Who did this to us? And the question is our image, our voice, our story. Let me remind our audience once more, if you have your questions, please write down your questions through the messaging system here to our moderators. And also our moderators are also free to put out questions to Mr. Honorable Kenneth Bandi, Mr. Collins Nweke, and the rest of them that are out there. You can put out your questions to them. So without wasting much time, I'd like us to move on to our next moderator, Priscilla Nwokwi. Please, madam, let's hear you. Are you there?
My apologies. I wasn't aware I was to make a presentation. I'm moderating.
You're moderating, not presentation, please.
I believe Honorable Rita is to speak next.
No, according to what I have here, you are supposed to speak now.
Right. Okay. I thought we were going to have our speakers speak first because as it is, we don't have a lot of questions as yet.
Okay. Let me go to her without wasting time. Please, ma, can you proceed, ma, Honorable Rita?
Thank you very much. I listened to Prof. and his submission really touched me. Who did this to us? Yep. I think I will pick up from that. Who did this to us? A lot of people did it to us, and we did it to ourselves too. Let me start by thanking every one of you that has put up this project. I was very, very keen on speaking with you guys when I saw an accusation that maybe I've collected some money, that's why I closed my mouth in whatever is happening in NIDCOM, and I laughed. And it's pretty good to, if you have a dog and the dog has a thick on the body, if you remove the thick by beating the particular part of the body where the thick is, without showing the dog that thick, the dog might feel you are beating it unlawfully. The issue of NIDO is my main reason of accepting this. What is happening to NIDO now can be likened to what is causing the rottenness of a meat. It comes from the meat itself. Because at the initial stage, Nigerians in diaspora, I met them on various segments: political axis, ethnic fighting, interest, greed, and a couple of things. 2016, and by the time I was made the chair committee on Diaspora Matters, I started receiving some of the groups through courtesy calls. At the end of the day, I find out that one thing is important, that all of them needed a strong institution that would be able to put an end to this, what would I call it, maggot that is trying to eat up the meat. And I concurred with them that we should march in one heart and one mind to make sure we have a strong institution that will be a one-stop shop for all Nigerian diaspora cases and their movements, including their business and harnessing of their resources in their home state and outside. And we agreed to work together to make sure that an already existing bill in the House of Representatives was represented, and we had to speed up and make sure it becomes a law. And I'll just give you a little voyage into what transpired before we have a NIDCOM Act. We took it up in the National Assembly, the lower chambers. We fought as we could, and we took the battle with a good help of the former Speaker Dogara, a wonderful and excellent being. He gave me all the support I needed, including the former Senate President, Saraki, who assured me that before the end of the tenure, that NIDCOM had to be a law. He did not stop at that. He made sure that he kept to his word. Then to the House of Representatives, I want to tell you what I said, what is destroying the meat is inside the meat. I never knew any of their officers, except when they come for courtesy call, they introduce themselves. On one of the occasions, they were in Nigeria. The representatives from some of the continents, they called themselves then NIDO Worldwide. They said they came to for a courtesy call, and they would attend meeting with the House Committee on Diaspora Matters, and if possible, meet the Senate President and the Speaker. I quickly put it up by myself, got a letter and delivered the letter to the Senate President and my honorable distinguished colleague that of a blessed memory, Rose Oko. I took the letter by myself to her office to make sure that those letters got to them. And I took my own. Very well. We welcomed all of them. They had a meeting in my office. We had press coverage. And after that, I arranged with them to meet the Speaker. That is where it will baffle you. The Speaker gave me time for them to come. Suddenly, these guys are already waiting for me in the Speaker's office to be called into the conference room. The Speaker gave me a call and said, Honorable Rita, you should come. I said, okay, sir. I went. He said, I cannot see these people. I said, sir, why? He said, I got a call that NIDO, they are in bits. They are in different groups. That if I welcome these people now, that means other groups will say they were not carried along. I said, sir, my reason for coming up to this is to make sure that those segments are brought together so that we can move forward. He said, in fact, he showed me the name of the person that called him, keep calling him more than 5-6 times not to accept those NIDO continental heads that come for that courtesy call. I became annoyed, and I have to contact the Senate President. And the Senate President arranged for them with distinguished honorable votes of blessed memory. The Senate President welcomed them. It was after the Senate President welcomed them on that courtesy call, and Speaker saw that I was so infuriated. He gave me a call and said, Honorable Rita, see me in the office. I refused to go because I was so annoyed. And he later called me and said, I can't stop your work without reason. I came to him. He explained to me the people that were calling him and said they should not give NIDO audience. So after we settled that, he now asked me, are they still in Nigeria? I said, yes. It's okay. Tomorrow, let me see them. Then I reinvited them, and the speaker spoke with them. Lucky enough, some of them might be among the audience listening. So they spoke, and the speaker told them what happened. And all of them were present. I became happy, and the speaker promised that whatever that should be done to make sure that these segregations are put off from legal circle. So I put up my project, and I told him that I'm going to visit the countries I could go and know what the problem is. And he said, okay. I started from UK. When I went to UK, it was battleground. The divisions are among tribes, parties, interest, and stuff. In fact, it was a state that Kanu was doing very well and peacefully before this game of use this person against this person come up. So it was terrible. Okay. And at the end of the day, as God may have it, I saw what was happening. It was terrible. In fact, they had to bring bouncers to block people from doing so, from fighting themselves inside the Nigerian High Commission. So these things continue. In fact, the chairman of that committee was told not to come and welcome me, because if you come to welcome me, I'm PDP. You see, these are the things that play itself. And I was bent on making sure that these things never stay. Because I know that by the time we have a law, we have an institution, everybody that will be appointed or nominated to work in that commission, there's a laid-down principle already where you have to derive your powers. And when you go contrary to that, you can be sued. So we ignored those and we commenced. And this happened, we were able to get them. Gradually, I started explaining to them that I am not here for PDP, which all of them were to testify. For the 4 years I stayed, I never went to any of the countries and hold PDP meeting with anybody. Unlike what was obtainable, you see, this party in the UK, this party, I never came for that. Everything I have done is for all the Nigerians in diaspora. And thank God we were able to unite. The cross of it all, in fact, the peak was the election in Athens. That was where I clearly see the voice of Jacob, but the hand was that of the Esau. It was terrible. Elections had to be held. It was Honorable George Manike that invited me. I don't know Bandy then. I met him in that place as one of the contestants. Manike tried to convince me to come to that, and I was able to go. I sat down, I was watching. I saw, in fact, what I saw was so appalling that members of NIDO could be so, I don't know, I don't want to insult anybody, but it's like somebody was trying to cajole them, using them to make sure that that crisis continued. In fact, the one happened that I left the table to go and ease myself. And I saw 2 or 3 of the people that are supposed to cast that answering calls. I hear Yoruba very well. So if you are speaking, I think I don't hear, I laugh. The voice was never allowed that election to hold. Don't allow it to hold. And when they came out, the hall became hot. I folded my hand, I was looking at them. The election must not hold. It will not. What is the reason why the election transiting to another situation to make sure that you coordinate well cannot hold? Then I stood up and I told them, You see, whoever that is manipulating you guys is not my business. But as far as I sit down here, I have the gazelle, and that gazelle is the authority from the National Assembly. And I want to tell you people that whoever that is telling you that this election will not hold, it must hold today. Do your thing, I will be an observer. But what will never happen is that this election will not hold, because when it don't hold, this crisis and fighting will still continue. We will not arrive at anything. So at the end of the day, I spoke to some of them that has good conscience. They understood clearly the reason that what they were telling them to cause the fight was big lie. So at the end of the day, the election held. And that was the beginning of the unity in NIDO. And they started from there. So we kept working on. Let me not forget, by the time this act passes through the National Assembly and it was presented in the Senate, I waited for 2 good months. It was not represented in the Senate. I quickly went to meet Honorable Rose. I said, "Ma, what is holding this for us not to conclude?" Then the Speaker and Senate President has agreed that we are going to get this thing done for diasporas. What is holding this, ma? He said, "Honorable Rita, let me tell you the truth. I represented that bill 2 times and it was removed." I said, "Who is removing it?" He said, "Honorable, this is what I cannot tell you, but I have to speak with you that somebody is fighting that this thing will not be a legislation." I laughed. So I went to...
Sorry, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Sorry, ma'am, because of our time. I
know
know
where the question is going to come from.
We know you have a lot you want to share with us. But then let's give one of our moderators the chance to coin the questions and then put the question up to you. So, Madam Priscilla Nwopi, please come on now. Let's hear your questions, please.
Right.
Thank you very much, Sir Sam. I think the Honourable was just about to get to the crux of the matter, which was to explain how the bill came about, if I'm right. And I think that's what. So I mean, if you can tell us, Honourable, what the bill, the content of the bill, and you know the effects on that, the impact of that on NIDO. I do have some questions here that I would go through, but I think with the questions here, the context of what the Honourable was about to say was important. I know we're running short of time, but we can mitigate. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. So the bill was kept aside, and after meeting the Senate chair on diaspora, I went to her house privately. That was the first time I was going to the house. I went there and she said, "Oh, this thing that brought you to my house might be so." I said, "Ma, we need to get this thing done so that this infighting in NIDO will stop." And she opened up and explained what I will not tell you here. The people that were calling her, the people that were manipulating it from the house, the people that were making sure that it never come into existence. She mentioned the names. But what happened in the parliament remains with the parliament. So, and I told her, this is the reason, and this is why it is like that. Then she came up. I went to the clerk of the House of Senate myself, and the clerk said it wasn't. I went to the clerk of the National Assembly, and I complained, and he told me to go back to Honorable Rose. Let 2 of us join together and do what we want to do. And we did that, and the bill came up. And immediately the SP saw it, he quickly let it go. And then we started praying for the signing. The day it was signed, by the grace of God, in fact, immediately it was signed, the chief of staff called me and said, "Oh, Rita, congratulations. On our project don't come up. On you people have done well." And I was happy. That was how the matter came up. And inside that act, the reason why we say we need the act is this. There are a lot of things that are playing out in NIDO, which the act has comfortably taken care of. In the chapter 1 of that act, it says it is established for the federation. It did not say it is established for Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba. I hope you understand me. That one has taken away the tribal or ethnic sentiment in NIDO. It's established for the federation. Then secondly, who will be, chapter 2, who will be, what will be is clearly stated. In fact, chapter 27, which is interpretation section, was clear on the whole situation. Who will be and how the appointment should be done. All the appointments must be done by the president. But there is an ouster clause which made this bill unique. This ouster clause is without prejudice to this act. The 6 continents of NIDO, we have two representatives to be nominated by the chapters. You understand me? It's not to be nominated by a politician or nominated by a chairman or nominated by a secretary. It must be the chapters that will nominate 2, making it 12. From North America, South America, Asia, Africa, Europe, and there are 6, Oceania. They will have 2 representatives to be nominated from their chapters. Then they will be screened and they will go through the Senate. That is the constitution of legal constitution of the board.
One moment, ma'am. One moment. When you said that they will be nominated, what would they be nominated to do? What role would they be?
Of the board.
Okay, to be members of the board.
Staff. They are members of the board. It is only the staffs that will be appointed by the board. Remember, I said appointed by the board, not by an individual. The board now will encompass the chairman, the secretary, the legal advisor, 12 members appointed from their chapters, nominated by their chapters. They are the ones that will constitute the board. And they are the ones that will now sit down and appoint their staff. But they must be screened by the Senate because the presidency will submit their names and they will be screened by the Senate. And this NIDCOM is an agency, is a commission, a legal entity. It can sue and it can be sued in its name. So whatever you have in that act, anyone you are not comfortable with, the first thing you will do, if you want to interpret the mind of a draftsman, the draftsman cannot interpret his mind when it has been passed into law. The only body that have the local standing, that have the right under the Constitution to interpret the mind of the draftsman is the judiciary. Those are the people you will go to, and they will interpret what National Assembly has in mind in doing that. National Assembly cannot interpret what they have said. They have done their bit. Executive has done very well, Mr. President, endorsing it into law. When it becomes a law, it's no longer one, it's Nigerian property. If you want to challenge it, you know the act says they can be challenged, they can be sued, or they can sue. It did not say the board can be sued. It did not say the secretary can be sued or chairman can be sued. You can be sued on that. That is when it is duly constituted. But if it is not duly constituted, I don't know who you are going to sue because it's still on the embryo stage.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma. That is much, much appreciated. Okay, I'm going to begin to take some of the questions that we have in the group here. One of the questions from Gwemi, which I think you've just done, asked if you could give some insight into the background and making of the NIDCOM Act. And I believe you've just done that, ma'am. Let me look at the next question on the group. As chairperson of Diaspora Committee of the 8th National Assembly, can you tell us whether or not the purpose of NIDCOM Act is being realized at this stage? What ought to be and what is obtainable as it is today? Are you able to enlighten us on that? Because we know that you're no longer in office at the moment, but is there any light you can shed on that?
You know, there's a proverb language. They say an old man or old woman does not look old in the music. He or she knows how to dance. Now, the issue of NIDCOM now is no longer a lobbying thing, right? If anybody is telling you to lobby this, lobby that, is a joke. You see, the lobbying in that thing has taken place when it was passing through National Assembly and Senate, right? Now, whatever that will make that NIDCOM viable is by going by the act. Is a law. So now, asking whether is obtainable right now, when you look at the appointments and you look at the constitution of the board, you can get your mindset to chapter 27, that is the interpretation section. You see what it says. That NIDCOM is an act, 15 of 2017, established for the Federation. It will have a chairman who has high integrity, that has served in public service for 15 years. If that one is met, then the second, the appointee from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who will not be lesser than a director, right? Then the two people nominated from the chapters, the 6 NIDO chapters. If these things are put in place and they take their names to the Senate for confirmation, and the confirmations are done in accordance with the act, that is when you have a full NIDCOM in place. But for now, if there is any operation happening there, when you look at the act, you can justify whether NIDCOM has been duly constituted or not. The act is clear. And then secondly, the foreign affairs are still the supervising ministry of NIDCOM. They are supervising. When you look at some of the chapters, there are directives they will carry out as the minister directs. You understand me? So we're trying to say whether that one is met or not. For me, as a lawyer, when you look at the act, if what is obtainable right now is not within the act, was not stipulated in the act, that means there has never been NIDCOM in place.
Okay, so you're saying NIDCOM has not been constituted if what the act stipulates has not taken place.
I don't know you guys that are there. Have you nominated your own representative, and have they been screened by the Senate? If those things are there, that is when it will come in place. And then they will have a head office. Don't forget that they're under foreign affairs, not any other ministry. So when these things are put in place, you will see that some of the hectic problems and skirmishes will not arise when right things are done.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. To this question, and by the way, that previous question was from Gbemi Taiwo. Fatima Rosary is asking this question, although I don't think it's, I believe you've answered it, but I would just read it out, to Madam Barrister Orji. Who was that person that repeatedly called the speaker to block the audience to NIDO's delegate? If you don't mind, kindly give us the name, but I know you have already stated that,
I told you that the individuals that we are calling them in Athens not to allow the election to hold was the same person that called the speaker not to allow it to hold. So I don't need to mention names, but those they called know themselves. The same individuals are still the ones that sent email to some of the diasporas in America to register another organization with the name of NIDO so that the crisis will continue. I have the email with me. I am not making allegations. Some of them that are watching knows what I'm saying. So these are the things we are able to fight through to make sure that this NIDCOM come into being. And the truth situation is that I'm proud today, I'm happy that finally came, because it's going to take care of a lot of things, because who shoots a gun cannot remove the bullet.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next question is coming from Collins Wike. He asked, to what extent is NIDCOM legitimate, considering that more than a year after its establishment, its board has not been constituted? What exactly is the problem?
NIDCOM has an act. guiding it. And inside that act, there is nowhere they said it will be illegal when it's not constituted. It will start being illegal when it is not duly constituted and it's taking up all the jobs that it's supposed to take. But for now, I don't think they are doing really big work. They are skirmish work. It is only when they take full responsibility of what the act has given them to do. That is when you say it's in operation. Like I said, it can only be operational when the appurtenances and its carriers are in place. That is when you will now say whether it's legal or not illegal. But when the whole appointments and nominations are done and you have people, the appointment is at the instance of the presidency. And in his wisdom, he knows when to do it because it's his job to know when to put all those things in order so that they will go on.
Okay. Our next question, hold on. Bear with me a second. Next question says, do you see any incompatibility, if not conflict of interest, in the two positions that run concurrently, Senior Special Assistant to Mr. President on Diaspora, and at the same time, Chairman of NIDCOM? Do you have any evidence that this position of SSA Diaspora has been relinquished? Again, from Collins Wiki.
I don't know. That's one. I don't know. It is the president that knows when he are appointed and when he fires. For me, I never knew about that. I don't know.
Okay. Bear with me again. I'm just pulling up a few more questions. Okay, nearly 20 years after a Nigerian government under President Olusegun Obasanjo established NIDO to unify diaspora input in national development, there are calls to reform. There are calls for reform of the organization. Some clandestine reform efforts have failed. Are you aware of such failed attempts? What reforms do you want to see?
The truth of the matter is, within the 20 years being mentioned here, I wasn't in the picture. But I can only speak where I was in the picture. Yes, if anybody said there's no clandestine slave to Swati, that's a joke. There are full ones that are consistent, right? But the good thing about this is some of the ways people reason, you can't compare them to reason like you. As a media person, you know your reason. And as a lawyer, I know my reason. I know where my right starts and where it ends. As a lawyer, I definitely know that being in the National Assembly, I have become a draftsman or draftswoman. And I was able to do the drafting as I leave. Then being a lawyer gave me another upper hand of the right of interpretation of that act, which is the judiciary term, right? That is why it's like I am very vast in the chapters of what I'm saying. Being a draftsman as a National Assembly member and an interpreter as a lawyer. Fine. The problem is, I don't know what people describe as legal. If it is on contest, which I know English is contextual, meaning if it is contest, NIDO. If I'm not wrong, you guys should correct me because you guys are the leaders. Nigeria in Diaspora Organization. That is NIDO, right? Who are Nigerians in abroad? Are they not diaspora? What is N? Is it not Nigerians? What is I? Is it not in? What is D? Is it not diaspora? What is O? It's organization. When you look into that act, you definitely know that NIDO is the umbrella body according to the act. Check chapter 2, verse 1c. It's clear. And then at that stage, the law says after these people, this board are constituted and they sit, these people would now work with Socio-cultural organizations, okay? Clearly stated, professionals. There are some professional bodies that are not registered with NIDO, right? So they have to go and bring them in. But there must be those. Socio-cultural is not Omo Igbo Foundation, Omo Hausa Foundation, Omo Yoruba. No, it's a professional bodies. That is what NIDO people should bear in mind. It is not PDP United Forum or APC Association or ABGA United. These are not professional bodies, right? Everybody has the right to be a member of a political party. When you practice it in your name, in your heart, it should not be mentioned in NIDO. If you are appointed to work, you should never dance to political affiliation. I was able to succeed because I kept my party PDP behind, and I worked for NIDO as Rita Orji representing Nigerians National Assembly. So in this case, the professional and socio-cultural bodies who are not registered with NIDO are the ones that, if they are recognized by their embassies. You see what I say? Embassies. They are the ones, the board will now sit down and get to them to flow into the system. It is not a chairman or secretary or legal advisor that is given that right to go to them. No, it is the board. Because inside that board, you have 12 people that are Nigeria and Diaspora Organization nominees. They are going to come together and go for their brothers and sisters that are professional bodies recognized by their embassies to bring them along in the process. That was the reason why I refused to take part in any diaspora policy. Because I cannot sew a nice uniform and put it on the body of a ghost. If you want to do things that are legal, you do it legal, or you back out.
Okay, ma'am.
We are fighting for NIDCOM to come. And when NIDCOM comes, one of the major functions of NIDCOM is to do a very special function. That function is try and formulate policies for Nigerians in diaspora. You understand?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for that detailed explanation there. Time is against me, but let me just very quickly. Dr. Fatuye Olufemi says, Honorable Orji, I greet you, madam. Your efforts will always be appreciated on the creation of NIDCOM. Just wanted to say thank you. I do have a question. My question is, you've mentioned two things, but the primary one is, where can Nigerians in diaspora have access to the Act, to the NIDCOM Act? It seems that there's more than one in circulation.
Sure.
How do they get the right one?
Yeah, the right one gazetted at the Office of Attorney General of the Federation. Remember, that is a law now. The only place you will get a law is in the Attorney General's office. You cannot get it in the market. In fact, if you see anyone in National Assembly now, which is not the one that comes from there, if there is any amendment, it is not correct. All right? We have done with it. Mr. President, in his wisdom, has done wonderfully well in signing it into law. The next place you see that document is in Attorney General's office, because it's no longer our property, it's the first own. So for you to get the original one, you can send anybody to Attorney General's office. That is where you see the official gazette. I won't give you my own, because if I give you my own, some will say or that, but get there directly, or you send somebody, or if you check their website, maybe I don't know whether they have uploaded it, you will be able to get that correct one. There are a couple of ones flying, some are policies, some are what, in order to make sure that NIDCOM did not stand. A lot of policies spring up, but at the end of the day, we are determined in the 8th National Assembly, by the grace of God, to make sure that we have an institution that will be there when Peter is not there, and when Rose is not there, and when Saraki is not there, and when Dogara is not there, and when those people that will be appointed or those that will be reappointed in future, they will have a solid ground to put NIDO activities in place and go according to the dictates and dictates of legal practice.
Thank you so much, ma'am. My job here is done for the time being. I'm just going to hand over to Emmanuel Ewara. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. Mr. Emmanuel Ewara from Tel Nigeria is still not here. He was supposed to be one of our moderators for this event. But I'll kick on and continue from here. Madam, you have really broken down a lot of the situation here right now. I want to ask this question. NIDO-NIDCOM and all the players involved in this situation now have their various explanations or angles with which they think is the reason why we are in this situation. Ma'am, please, can you, for a layman, pinpoint the focal point of this whole issue and tell us what is the solution forward? Do we have a solution looking forward on this matter?
The solution is the NIDCOM itself. When you look at the act has explained everything. The only area that is like pulling you guys back right now, when the board is duly constituted, I don't think you guys will have any problem. It's just because people are not sure of whether it's constituted or not. Mine is that if when you people that are in NIDO have been able to nominate your 2-2 and they have come to the Senate, which has never happened, that's the only time you know that, oh, if all these things are done, sure. But for now, I don't see any problem. Because appointment this time for NIDO will not be a lobbying thing. The law has made it open where and how the representative of NIDO in all the continents should come up. One thing you guys don't know is that this nomination is the right of NIDO continental people. Nobody can nominate anybody for them. You can't even influence the nomination. They will nominate who they want. If they nominate if the person they nominate after screening, the person did not pass or is an insolvent, and because when you look at it, you see the positions where your nomination can be invalid, right? On sound mind, if the person is bankrupt, the person has been convicted of committing one or two of those things. That is the only thing that will negate who you appointed. But if that person didn't pass, you too will be the one to reappoint because it's your right. The act to say without that one is a law. This is not a bill. The act establishing NIDCOM said Nigerians in diaspora continentals, they are the ones that will nominate their people. I think I will advise that NIDO people should calm down when it is duly constituted. I think some of these assumptions will go. Because there are a couple of people that are popping me on and said they want to vote, so they are bringing up, they are establishing different areas. They called meetings for diaspora voting, and this, I was laughing. You know why? Until the board is fully constituted, they will be able to take up their responsibility. An individual cannot call for such things. Because this is a law now, it's not a bill. When NIDCOM is not there, anybody in a corporation can do. But now that the act is there, for it to take up its responsibility fully, it must be duly constituted. And when it's duly constituted according to law, fine. These things will not have a problem. That I'm sure.
All right, I would like to bring Honorable Kenneth Bandi, who is the NIDO chairman Europe, into this discussion. Honorable Kenneth Bandi, please put on your camera. Let's see you, so you'll be part of this discussion. From the NIDO perspective, do you think NIDO is standing our ground? Because from the discussion we're hearing from what we're hearing from Honorable Rita Orji right now, the nomination is NIDO's right.
Yeah, so, sure.
Where is the problem right now, and are we standing our ground?
Well, thank you very much. So, Honorable, I don't know. Okay, thank you very much for bringing me in. Actually, I was told by admin that I'm not, nobody's supposed to appear. So thank you, admin, for bringing me in. Yes, I've listened to Honorable very well. And I'm very, very delighted that she's been able to, throw some light. As a matter of fact, I was the coordinating chairman of NIDO Worldwide when we paid a courtesy visit to Honorable Rita Orji. And I can testify that the lobbying which led to the Honorable Senate Chairman eventually, passing that law. As a matter of fact, just 2 minutes to give a background before I go further. I remember that when we scheduled a meeting with Honorable Rita Orji, who actually invited us to meet the Senate President and the House Chairman, I got a call from another chairman of organization that the appointment has been canceled for whatever reason. So I sent out a meeting to a note to my fellow chairman to say that the appointment has been canceled. And Honorable Rita called me back and gave me the briefing of my life. And she told me, who dare you cancel the appointment I have set up? And who told you the appointment have been canceled? I apologize. In fact, it took me almost 1 month to apologize for that, which actually strained our relationship for a while. Because I couldn't understand that. We got a call from the office of the Senate that the appointment has been canceled. We turned out to be not true. Fast forward, we were able to attend that meeting, which eventually in that meeting, led by NIDO Europe and the other NIDO Worldwide organization, we are told the time and the date where the bill will become a law. And I stand here to say that date, in fact, the day they told us that bill will be passed, all things being equal, the bill was passed even before that date. It's on record. And so eventually, I would say that I have a little bit of I was humbled to be in that that final push that brought that bill, and that's why I have maintained from the word go, and I think the Honorable Rita Orji have actually confirmed that fact, that the bill, as in the law, the act as in Section 2, was very, very clear that the NIDO continental bodies must nominate 2 representatives. And this is subject to any prejudice. And like she already said, even if our nominee, for whatever reason, did not meet the nomination criteria, we have the opportunity to renominate that again. And if you can follow up the past meeting in the media or the past write-up in the media, that has been my position. And I said in a headline that the position of NIDO in NIDCOM is not subject to negotiation. That negotiation has already passed. And so from the NIDO perspective, at least from NIDO Europe perspective, and I think also, I don't want to speak for the NIDO Worldwide, but we are of the opinion that the act was very, very unambiguous and clear what it states about the role of NIDO. And I have said, yes, and Mr. President will appoint the board at his own wisdom. But until that is done, anybody who is telling us that NIDO is not the only organization recognized to appear in NIDCOM board, I stand to be corrected to say, no, that is not correct. So our position in NIDO is that we are relying solely on the NIDCOM Act to say that NIDO will, at the right time, at the prerogative of Mr. President, nominate our 2 nominees into the Diaspora Commission. And it's only when that is done that we can collectively go into any reform that might be needed, whether from NIDO or from the diaspora. Because I believe that anybody who is calling for a reform of the NIDO before the act is actually constituted, there should be also calling for the reenacting of the diaspora bill, which means we should scrap everything about NIDCOM and go back to the Senate to ask them to re-amend that bill where anybody should be appointed. But until that is done, I believe that the act is very unambiguous and we should follow on the act. That's my position on that.
So I'll give an opportunity to Honorable Rita. You are excited. I see you very excited, agitated about what he is saying. So what's your input, ma?
Number one, body is not in order. No board, no appointee has the right to scrap NIDCOM. There is a procedure of scrapping an agency that is already in place by law. There is a procedure. It is not even the board or NIDO. You guys have nothing to do there. The only body that you can take that act to court, when you say it's illegal or what, is a court. And if you are saying, oh, everything from A to Z is illegal, it is the court that will interpret the Grassman's view on that and come up. It is only when a court makes a pronouncement that you will not say, if the court says you should return it back or you should scrap it. It's not done. That act has come to stay. The only thing you can do is amendment, right? You can do amendment through the National Assembly. But you cannot be talking of amendment. I don't know whether you can have abortion before pregnancy. It doesn't work. I've not seen where a woman has abortion before she becomes pregnant. It doesn't work. NIDCOM will be in place with all its paraphernalia. They will take up their job. It's only when you're offended by any of their job. You can seek legal interpretation as in chapter 1 or chapter 2. But don't forget what this guy was saying. What the appointment, when you look at the appointment section, right? Appointment section said the people that will be in the board is clear. Those people in the board are the ones that will now handle the staffs, bringing in the staff, you understand me, and others. NIDO representatives are not staffs of the commission, and as well, you cannot lobby for them. They are authoritatively mentioned as board members when they are nominated from their different areas they will take up. Then remember, other Nigerian organizations that we are holding hand to make this exaggeration is a very vague one. What the act said is clear. Other socio-cultural organizations and, in quotes, professional bodies recognized by their embassies. It is this board that SAT will be able to get to them and carry them along. I hope you understand me. So anybody making a call for reform, that is like having abortion before pregnancy. It doesn't work.
All right. I'll go straight to the question posted by Mr. Saab from Germany. I'm thinking I know the person that wrote this question, Mr. Saab. I'm not sure, but let me just leave it there. He says, "Thanks, Honorable Orji. You were the successor to Honorable Abike Dabari as chairperson of Diaspora Committee. How much did your predecessor facilitate our bill getting passed? Was Honorable Abike Dabari positively helping you to get the bill passed?" That's the question, ma'am.
I wouldn't want to take that question. Sorry, I would not want to take the question.
Okay. Then I will kindly invite Mr. Femi Awuni of African Korea. Sir, if you are there, put your camera on because I have a question for you, and I will ask a question. Mr. Femi, are you there? Okay, Ma, let me put this question to you. How much do you think, also Mr. Kenneth, are you coming also on this? Mr. Kenneth Bandi, Honorable Kenneth Bandi, how much do you think communication is the issue in this dispensation right now? How much do you think communication is the issue?
Well, let me take it first, Honorable, if you allow me, so that you can probably correct me if you're wrong. Communication from the inception of lobbying for the act to be for the bill to be passed. I was in the office of, or we as NIDO have been in the office of Honorable Rita Orji more than 15-20 times. She facilitated the last Diaspora Day that we held it in the National Assembly. All was in the need to bring in all the stakeholders to be sure that the stakeholders, facilitated in that personal law. And I can say it on record also that since the inception of, since the appointment of the NIDCOM chairman, through the wisdom of Mr. President, we have initiated on a NIDO worldwide basis more than 3, 4, 5 meetings, to get the roadmap. So to answer your question, the communication has not been very, very successful. I don't know whether it is from our side, whether we probably didn't ask it excellently very well or not. I do not. I will leave people to judge that. But I can tell that we have tried more than 4, 5, 6 times to have a one-on-one meeting so that we can be able to at least assess what is the roadmap forward. It has not been successful. I think communication, like you rightly pointed out, play an effective role on that. And I hope probably after going forward, I will have a better way of communicating.
Okay, before Honorable Rita comes in, Ma, I want to push this question to Mr. Femi Awuni of the African Korea. Sir, do you think NIDO, you're a media person within NIDO, do you think they're using the media aspect of NIDO to at least magnify the situation properly to Nigerians that are not even in NIDO, or breaking down the issue properly? Do you think they're using the media enough?
Well, you know, Nigerians have a lot of issues that the media perhaps consider more pertinent than the issue of NIDO. As a member of NIDO, who has been following this organization right from day one, I've always advocated for a political solution. And I will repeat it here. You understand? This is politics. The process of passing the bill was politics. The process of appointment of whoever, either the chairman, the process of the election of a president or governor is politics. So we are doing politics. So my take, and I will repeat it here for the option time, that NIDO must employ the processes and avenues of diplomacy to get the right thing to be done. There are many parastatals in Nigeria today, established by the Nigerian law, that don't have boards. Their boards have not been constituted. There are parastatals whose boards have been constituted, but they have not been allowed to function. A very good example is the NDDC. The appointment of the NDDC board was sabotaged for a long time. Afterwards, it was appointed. And again, the enemies didn't stop there. They sabotaged the commencement of his operation. And the appointment was again suspended by the office of the president. So when you live in a country like this, we are not in Germany. If you are in Germany and you have a situation like this, I'll tell you, look, let's fight, let's get it done. This is the law. But we are Nigerians, and we know the situation of our country. So we cannot pretend as if we are operating outside of the realities of our own nation. We are product of that nation. So I call on my friends and my brothers.
So are you using the media enough to make these calls? That's my question.
Who is using the media?
The media within NIDO. You are one of the media person in NIDO. Is NIDO or the diaspora using the power of the media enough to push? To do the pushing?
Well, I think they have been doing a lot. I mean, Honorable Kenneth Bambi has been doing a lot with the media. I can say that. I cannot. You can't take that from him. You know, you cannot take that from him. He has been doing a good job. But the only problem I have with him, because he's a friend and a brother, a disagreement I have with him is that we need to find a political solution. We need to be smart. This is the problem. And moreover, the address of our grievance is the presidency, is the president. According to the act establishing the commission, it is only the president that has the powers to appoint the chairman of NIDCOM and members of his governing board. Again, the president is the repository of the sanctity of Nigerian laws.
All right, so, let me go to Honorable Rita. He says political solution is what you'll be seeking for. How do you think you can use the diaspora media to help magnify your voice? Is there any way you can work within the diaspora?
I don't want to go away from your question, but I want to digress a little to make a preamble before going to where you are.
Okay, ma'am.
If diasporans are living abroad and they're doing wonderfully well and they're following law and order, and they restrict that law and order in the place they are living alone, and they still believe that we cannot do right things in Nigeria, that's a problem. Who are we relying on? When we have a law, if we need political solution, there is no need of getting a NIDCOM Act. It is still in line with having powerful men against a powerful institution. And that's the reason why we have been able to fail in various agencies. When you leave what the law that established that act, I remember NDEO when Honorable Minister was so annoyed. And when he was told to constitute the board of NDE, you can't be working without the board. In fact, the minister was reprimanded by the national chairman for not constituting the board, because that one is the right of the minister. You understand me? Unlike NIDCOM, NIDCOM is not the right of the minister. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is a supervising minister. But the law says, I want something that even if I'm not in this planet Earth, somebody will remind me for standing on the fortune of truth. There is no political situations as to appointment that is clearly stated. Where you will be talking about political situation or lobbying is when the board is fully constituted, right? And things are not moving well. You might say, okay, we don't want to sue. We want to seek alternative. It's not political. I don't subscribe to throwing the law aside and going political. Okay. I am an advocate of the Supreme Court of Nigeria as a legal practitioner. Okay. I will ascribe to, if there is a alternative resolution, but know that before that comes into existence, by his grace, Mr. President, in his mercy, in his right, would have constituted the board. The other time, we cannot be saying wrong things are good. When the boards of NDDC, the issue raised by my brother Woni, the board was not sabotaged because they didn't use political solution. It was because some people that were nominated, they have skirmishes according to what we have. So they were trying to go through their budget, and a lot of corruption they find out. They want to handle that before putting the board in place, right? It was not because they live political. What is political in an act that is already existing? And finally, in this case, using the media, I love it when you stand on your right. That is saying the truth. Because the reason why NIDO and all were fighting, struggling to get an institution is to go away from this using political solution or using this solution. That's why everybody fought together to make sure we have a solid law. Whenever that nominations and appointments are fully, but they still screen them and they come up, that is when you now find out, are they doing the right thing or they are doing the wrong thing? That is when you have a board in place. When those things are in place and there is something that is not moving well, okay, then you say, oh, we don't want to go to court. We want to seek alternative resolution. But it's not political. You can't go political in an act that is established by law. That means you are pushing the right and embracing the wrong.
Okay, ma'am. Before I go back to Priscilla, I have one question from somebody in the diaspora. So, Gbemi Taiwo, that's the name. Say, what's your position concerning diaspora voting? Very important.
Yeah.
Very important. Very important.
You know why I'm laughing? I am one of those that has fought for diaspora voting. And let me tell you the reality. Some people might disagree with me, but until we get there, they will know. You see the new Electoral Act amendment, right? Mm. If that Electoral Act amendment is passed into law, it encompasses electronic voting. You understand? Mm. It does not have diaspora voting. I'm a realist. And that's why some people don't like my views. I cannot be painting, I don't pet a crying child without putting the breast milk in his mouth. If diasporas are to vote, number one, is one of the reasons why I'm saying when the boards are duly constituted, these are policies they can formulate, you understand, and put in place. Another way is through the National Assembly. National Assembly, the current chair of both houses, right? can come together and sponsor another fresh. We had a bill I have sponsored already that it didn't go because they say the diasporas cannot vote and given reasons. And let me tell you one of the reasons. I have been on television 2 or 3 times to talk about it, and some diasporas feel I don't want them to vote. You see, the reality is this. Nigeria has no correct data. I was the person that fought and championed diaspora data capturing through NIMC. I did strongly. Some of them that are diasporas will bear me witness. It seems I am resuming in NIMC to make sure that this commenced. And it finally started. Why I am doing this is that you cannot build a house without a foundation. If diasporas will vote, forget this, some people will call townhall meeting, diaspora voting. You don't just waste your time, right? If diasporas are going to vote, number one, if the Electoral Act is amended, as it's amended, they have to include diaspora voting, because we included it in the last time and they struck it off. And some of the reasons given for striking it off is clear. Where are they going to vote? Those things will come into being. Unlike America, you can vote in Walmart, you can register in Walmart, you can do many things. But right here, is it in the embassies that they will vote? What kind of voting? Is it paper they will use to vote? How would their vote be transmitted? How many of them are of voting age? Because in diasporas, both young and old are all diasporas. But you can only pick those who are above 18 and above. Those are the ones that are legal to vote. That means you won't have to have their data. They are going to have their national identity. I don't know how many of you that have registered and get captured in NIMC. It is only when you have this data. Oh, in Scotland, we have 1,000 Nigerians. Out of that 1,000, 500 are adults of above 18. And then you are looking at that 500 that are supposed to vote. Then that is when you have a data. Then secondly, where are they going to cast these votes? And how will it be transmitted? You cannot start building a house without digging a foundation. So for diaspora to vote, these things must be put in place. There will be their data of knowing the place they will vote, what mode of voting will they undergo, and this one will be imputed in INEC Act. You understand me? Because it is the INEC that conducts the election. It's not Diaspora Commission that will conduct the election. It's not their job. It's INEC. So it's when these things are put in place, that is when you see diaspora vote. If Nigeria is doing manual voting still, diaspora voting will not come into existence.
Okay. All right, ma. I'll read a message from Honorable Zeb Odaja from Germany. He says, "Thank you a million for clearing that no political approach is required here, as Awuneyi propagates." I want to find out if Honorable Collins is somewhere online here. If he's here, he can come.
He's the one that me of collecting money. He should come online and ask me the question.
So let me ask you a question from him. If he's not there, I'll put a question from him. Or let me bring in Priscilla. Priscilla, please come in and continue. Let's ask a few more questions, because probably you have something to ask before.
I think Honorable Collins is here now.
Is he here?
Honorable Collins?
I have actually been here for
okay.
from the very
all right, so put on your camera. Let's see you. All
so,
right.
Honorable Collins, your questions have been asked. You do know that, right? I've asked your questions. But Honorable Orji wants you to address the issue, the alleged allegation of her collecting money, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I will address him, not him addressing me. He has asked the question.
Well, I'm not sure that is going to serve this section well if we begin to address allegations, because there are 1,001 of them out there, I do think that what has to happen is what has been happening, which is clarifying the disinformation that has dominated the space. Because in addressing the issues, putting them in the right perspective, you are able then to actually inadvertently take care of the disinformation, the misinformation, and the rest of them. And I believe that Honorable Rita Orji has done justice to that. I'm also happy to note that quite a number of people have spoken from the clarifications given. We have also seen that some of the dreams or illusions that some of us have, for example, the issue of political solution, has been very flatly dislodged because that's not what we're dealing with. Now, I think what I want to do is throw the ball back to the court of Dr. Israel Davidson, who has given a very powerful introductory statement. We have seen him here and there on the social media, and he has been listening very, very attentively from the beginning up until this point. Now, I want to charge Dr. Davidson to fall back on his international exposure, his intellect, and indeed the best practices all over the world, put them side by side, all that he has heard, and try to let us know what he thinks, what his opinion is about how NIDO and NIDCOM should address these challenges that are before them. I am very keen to hear your take on that, Dr. Davidson.
Well, you've dropped me into this. Anyway, let's.
Well, that's the reason we invited you in the first.
You dropped me into this. Now, listen, I've listened, attentively, and I think Honorable Rita has actually demonstrated that she's a lawyer and a politician. I think she's able to wrap those two things together, eloquently. Now, listen, as the discussion has been going on here and there, one of the things that, keep running in my mind is when we talk about Nigerians and diaspora. Now, the question is, how many Nigerians in diaspora actually know about NIDO and NIDCOM? Have you ever done some kind of census to determine whether actually millions of Nigerians who are in diaspora, whether they actually know about you or not? Personally, until I think I was doing some research a couple of years ago, and I think I bumped into a World Bank report that was looking at how much money Nigerians in diaspora repatriate to Nigeria. That was my first time of actually coming across something like NIDO. And after that, it disappeared. Now, so who actually are you people representing? Because if I speak to some of my colleagues and the people that I know, I'm not sure how many of them actually, have heard about you and your existence. So this question of infighting, you're fighting for who? For yourselves or for who? I don't understand. I mean, so that's a point, I think, I'm happy you're giving me this opportunity to say that. Now, regarding, the issue of settlement, I think I like what Honorable Rita has actually said. She made a very powerful point, which is, in the diaspora, those of us who are here, we recognize that law works. And it is the law that gave us the right to remain in this country. We are not, I'm not British citizen. Even if I'm British citizen, I'm an African, that is a paper citizen. And it is the law, that says, well, even though you were born in Africa, if you stay here for a number of years and you meet the criteria, you can call yourself American, British. And that law works. So the point she raised is, how come you respect the law here, and then when it comes to our own country, you want to apply a different rule? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. I think it was powerfully put. So my point of view here is, if she has been able to fight all through, get these institutions set up legally, and the Gazette or whatever you will call it has, laid down the rules. Nobody can go against those. If you don't like it, you resign, you leave the organization. And I think one other thing again, which I'm saying here is, who actually are you guys representing? Because for me, I've spoken to a number, before coming on to I've spoken to a number of my friends who are professors and, different institutions. Nobody's aware of this organization. And I'm also not sure that you have been able to campaign enough to be able to educate us of why you exist. So, so I don't know whether I am, rubbing salt into the into the wound itself.
Because of
I think the point I want to make here is, I think we should go along with what the law says. So,
okay, so I think because of time constraint right now, I would probably bring in Honorable Kenneth Bandy and Honorable Rita Orji before Priscilla will round up this whole.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
I want Mr. Honorable Kenneth Bandy to answer your question: who is NIDO representing?
Exactly.
Before,
yes.
Before
okay.
She comes in. So we can hear you. Your microphone is off.
Mine up.
Can I Mandy? It's still off.
Is it okay? Yeah, thank you for that question. Prof is right. But if you look at the many years of information about NIDO, we have a website, we have shared information. There's a daily, yearly National Diaspora Day. But honestly speaking, I think we can still do more. And like Honorable Rita Orji rightly said, it's when the board, is fully in place, we can look at all those loopholes. What are we not doing right? How can the board help us to, to reach out to so many organizations so that we can be able to act as that umbrella organization? And you cannot achieve that. And don't forget, I think it was Honorable Collins Mweke or Sebudu that I mentioned that in one of our forums. Don't forget that NIDO members are contributing to this organization from their own pocket. Selfless service. Nobody pays them for this job. If you expect us to carry out a $10 million advertisement on CNN, from whose pocket is going to come from, apart from how much they've already invested? So we are expecting that with a widely considered board, we could chart a program together. How do we then mobilize? Don't forget, the board says the idea of NIDCOM is to mobilize all Nigerians to tip into their intellectual, physical, social, and whatever capital they have generated in the past. That is the idea. And of course, the bill will not, or the act will not go into mobilization of Nigeria if we have fully mobilized all Nigerians. It means that the act recognizes that we still have enough room to do that. So my take is that Nigerian or NIDO or NIDCOM is a project in the making. It's a project in process. We will continue to look at what we need to do, what we are saying, what we have always cried for. Can we have the full constitution of the board so that we can all head down to business and begin to do the work which it was meant to do, which is to mobilize all Nigerians? So yes, I can understand what Prof is saying, that we need to do more, but of course, we need the instrument of the state, which they have clearly identified, and the president was gracious enough to sign it into law. We need that instrument, that policy instrument, to enable us to fully mobilize all Nigerians. That's what is expected from the act. That's what I will add for that.
Okay, I'll go to you, Honorable Rita. Finally, before Priscilla will round up, what would you want to say? Because there are numerous non-NIDO members that are watching, that are Nigerians out there watching this broadcast right now. How would you want to tell them the importance of being a member of NIDO to achieving anything back home?
Well, I am not a campaign manager for Nigerian Diaspora Organization. Neither am I the advocate.
But Ma, you're here right now. You're here with us now.
Yeah, you see, but there's a proverb that says, when you go to town, where you stay, and people interact with determines who you are. If you are an armed robber, when you go to town, you go to uncompleted buildings and under the bridge, you will see those smoking. Their eye will be red and yours will be red. They know you are a member. This is a proverb. And if you're a genuine human being, when you go, you look for where your people are and tell them, oh, I'm from here. So. That one is just a concise analysis of what I'm about to say. You see, NIDO might not be in the whole planet, but you should know that there are Nigerians who are even at a place that you cannot reach them except through internet. And now, I've always made it clear whenever I attend their organization, I said they should do no. I don't blame them on one side. There is no budget from government to fund whatever activities they are doing. Even when I'm
should that be a budget?
Of course, there should be NIDCOM. NIDCOM has to, the policies have to be funded, right? And the chairman is accounting, the law says he's accounting officer of the commission. So if you don't have a budget, what are you accounting for? You understand? So that's the reason why, by his grace, we are employing that the board be duly constituted. That will really help them a lot to go into the areas where they can hold activities to highlight the importance of Onye Maranwanne. In Igbo language, we say Onye Maranwanne, know your brother or your sister, right? In my language, I always say, when you hear the voice of your brother, you know that person is your brother. They will really try us. I know when this NIDCOM gets strong on this footing, some of these things will be taken care of. And finally, I want to advise that Nigerians in diaspora, I respect, I cherish, I admonish them. They are wonderful people. But there is something they must try and do. If you want to play the game of chess, you know how to play it to the detriment of yourself alone, not to others. They shouldn't be allowing themselves to be Baba seat. Some of them are really sitting on a Baba seat. When you turn them here, their head goes there. When you turn them here. In fact, those are the reasons why we say we should fight for institution, so that people will see where to rely on. Because I don't see the reason why some people will be supporting that the implementation should not be done, and you are in diaspora. And some people will be saying, going into, sometimes when I watch the kind of fight that happens in their forum, I will sit down sometimes and ask, these people, are they really in diaspora, or they are in Ajegule or in Oshodi? Because common sense is that you can't say what is obtainable in your area, you cannot, where you reside, cannot be done in Nigeria. Why are we now saying we harness your potential for implementation in our own area? Because we look at you guys, at those who have, my father when he was alive said, Onye Njenje, a traveler is wiser than an old man in the village. Because there are a couple of things you have seen. So I am begging them, whichever thing they are doing, they should do for the interests of Nigerians in diaspora, not personal interest. Because I'm seeing that some people are trying to show their loyalty. Oh, you belong to this person, you belong to this person. We have overdone that. Because by getting NIDCOM in order, your loyalty should be to the law that established that act. Your loyalty should not be for anybody. Because government is continuing. Soldier go, soldier come. But this NIDCOM act has come to stay. That is the barracks. If they transfer you to another area, you go. But that barracks will remain there to house any other person that will be coming. That is the reason of having a strong institution than having a strong human being. So let us unite, throw away ethnicity. That is why I quoted chapter 1, that it says it is established for the federation, not established for political party, not established for ethnicity, not established for anybody but for federation, which is Nigeria. So let them remove all these sentiments, ethnicity, this, that. The act has nullified it. It is established for federation. All of them that are Nigerians, they are the owners. So they should hold hands together, chase away anybody that is shooting you and is removing the bullet from you. Because if you don't dance to their tune, they cannot disorganize you. It's good for you, somebody to tell you, go and cause confusion in an election that is coming. Make sure you do well. Whose interest is it protecting? Wherever there is crisis, there is no peace. It is only when there is peace there will be progress. When you guys unite together and you call on the National Assembly, call on your chair on National Assembly, the sitting chair and the Senate, table your issue. Please help us beg Mr. President to constitute this board so that we could move ahead, right? You can do it unanimously. Not some are saying it should be political, some saying you should lobby. In that act, there is nothing like you will lobby, my dear. A law does not understand the language of lobby. The lobby, you have done it during the passage. For now, follow the due process. And I can assure you, by the time you guys are on one track, you will get what you want. And remember, united we stand, divided we fall. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma. I want to thank all the participants for being patient with us. We are a bit out of time, so I'll hand over to Priscilla to round up the whole session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samson. And the purpose of today was to establish and have clarity on what the NIDCOM Act said, especially with reference to NIDO. And the best person who could have explained that to us was none other than Honorable Orji, as she was at the time the chairman for diasporas in the House when the act was constituted and passed. So on the basis of that, we would like to say a very big thank you, ma'am, for taking the time to break down and to explain and to bring clarity and understanding on the act and where we can find it, and most especially the relevant and important parts for NIDO. So I would like to thank all those who have taken the time to attend. I see that there are some questions that have come through, but unfortunately, time does not permit us. We did schedule this to be for an hour and a half. We're slightly over time, and we can't continue to extend, but at the very least, for the sake of those who were here in time. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you very much to the organizers for putting this, convening this meeting today. Thank you very much to our speaker, Dr. Israel Davidson. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable and rich contribution. And Honorable Rita Orji, we're very grateful for your time and for breaking down and explaining everything to us. To the previous chairman, Collins Winkey, thank you very much. Thank you to Honorable Kenneth Gbadi, and of course, to my co-host today, my co-moderator today, Samson Onaja Itodo, thank you so much. But there is a young lady who has been working behind the scenes to make sure that today happens. So I'd like to say thank you so much to you, Ngozi Vivian, who is hiding behind the scenes. We can't see you, but thank you for all your hard work for making this day happen. And to everybody that has been here, thank you all. Now, every member of NIDO knows what to do and how to do it. Honorable Orji said it, let's put our differences aside. Let's put our ethnicities aside. Let's put, whatever shade we prefer aside, and let's look at it as one body so that we can achieve what is best for ourselves. Diaspora voting is possible, but it is up to us. Thank you all so much for your time. Goodbye.
Thank you.